Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about risks which people can see for others but can't see for themselves. So, look at me. I can look at all the financial risk in other people, but I cannot look at the risk that I'm overweight. I need to cut down at least 10 kilos of weight, right? But I can't see that risk, but I can see the risk in other people's portfolio. My own documentation, I need a lot of things to be corrected, but I can't see that risk. I think I'm permanent. I made a will, so I can't say I'm indifferent to that risk. But yeah, a lot of risk in my own portfolio out of sheer laziness does not get attended to. And this must be true for all of you. I know one risk advisor, the whole country considers him to be a great risk advisor who can't see the risk of being overweight, right? So this happens, right? Everybody can see the risk for others, but they cannot in many times see the risk for themselves. So let me give you some more examples. One person handling IT security for a bank has bought two real estate deals, has done two real estate deals, and in both the deals he has not got the OC. So which means he has done bad deals without checking up with say HDFC or somebody as a lender, because he had his own money. He has done the deal and now he is wondering how will he ever be able to sell off, because the construction buildings without OC are very good for people who don't have much of check money, who have to pay cash and buy, and those are the kind of people who buy it there. Typically small businessmen, etc., buy it there, and they don't mind paying the monthly charges, which are 2 times or 3 times what it would be for a regular building. But he's paying that because he doesn't have a choice. So whether it is water being bought from canned water that he buys, or the society itself buying water and paying 4x the price for garbage disposal, he's got to agree to everything, and he handles the IT risk for a bank, nothing less, right? So he can see all the risk in IT, but he cannot see this simple risk with himself. Or a doctor who smokes 20 cigarettes a day and works in Tata Memorial. It can't get worse than that, right? Or a smart chartered accountant who handles a group of 22 professionals, he handles their wealth, etc., and he drives after having 3 drinks, right? Can he see the risk? Of course he can't see the risk, right? Or one academic who can write a 200-page document on risk and keeps all his money in bank deposits. I am not holding it against him, because he and his wife both have government pensions, good big government pensions now after they retire. So they may not need it, but the thing is, he can write articles about standard deviation, risk, equity, why you should invest in equity, but his own money is only in bank fixed deposits. Right? Is he taking a risk on his portfolio? Maybe inflation risk, because he's still very young, but he's hoping that his bank fixed deposits would be so big that it will take care of inflation, and his wife's pension will be so big that will take care of the indexation. That's what he thinks, but that's up to him. But look at the amount of risk that he understands and the risk that he takes. They have no connection at all. Or a young professional with a great career stuck in a bad company but making no attempt to change. Can you believe this? 30-year-old guy, 30 plus, slightly more than 30, stuck in a bad company, keeps cribbing about the company but doesn't change his job. That's risk, right? Tomorrow that company could close down or something could happen. He's not even looking at what are the other options, right? Young bankers keeping their money in fixed deposit because they say they get the tax benefit. Tax benefit? Yeah, tax benefit of 80C for making fixed deposit in a bank in which they get the rebate. But what about the interest on that? No interest, we will have to pay tax. Exactly. So why would you put into a bank deposit instead of putting into say a PPF or an ELSS with a growth option? Right? So you don't have to pay tax on the income arising out of that. You will have to pay capital gains tax at best, right? 58-year-old man, you may not believe it, CEO of a company, has nothing for retirement, almost nothing, maybe 2-3 crores in terms of PF and all that put together, but his lifestyle is such that he needs about approximately 30-40 lakhs a year is what they're spending on. CEO of a company, so obviously high lifestyle. He's got a couple of flats of which he does not know what will be the realizable value. You can't have such a negative or such a bad attitude towards risk and towards your own portfolio. So I keep wondering why do people behave in such a way? Is it that because they don't understand risk, or is it because they understand risk but still don't care? I really don't know. So now when I look at young boys and girls who are not very educated, I try to push them into buying mutual funds, especially peons, drivers, etc. So about 7-8 of them, maybe about 13-14 of them, not even 7-8, have come to me and said, I want to do what you did for that fellow. So these are all guys to whom I had given an implicit guarantee that they will not accumulate less than the amount that they have put. So if they were to put 500 rupees for 5 years, 500 rupees per month for 5 years, which means about 30,000 rupees, I would give them an implicit guarantee that I will give you 30,000 rupees immaterial of what is the value of the fund after 5 years. Luckily, after 4-5 years, the fund manages to be above 30 because nobody has ever come to me saying I've lost money. One guy is now doing so well that he's got approximately 13-14 lakhs, maybe 15 lakhs in his account, and he tells me he never thought he'll have more than 45,000 in his bank account, right? So this is what you have to make people understand risk. You make people then shoulder the risk. You offer them some help from outside, and that's the best you can do. After that, you expect that person to be able to handle the risk himself or herself. Thank you.